What is it that steals the sleep from your eyes and keeps you lying awake all night, lost in endless thoughts? Is it the excitement about a trip you've been looking forward to? Or the stress of unfinished work, an upcoming exam, or a family gathering you're already dreading? For most people, this stress is temporary and disappears once the source of it is gone. But what if the problem itself is that you're stressed about not being able to sleep? It's a strange, self-perpetuating loop, and that's exactly what makes insomnia such a difficult problem. Insomnia is the most common sleep disorder in the world. There are many things that can cause insomnia. Someone snoring next to you, physical pain, or emotional distress.
Even jet lag can throw off your biological clock and disrupt your sleep schedule. But usually, the problem is temporary. And eventually, exhaustion catches up with us, and we fall asleep. But sometimes, things are different. Certain chronic conditions, such as breathing disorders, gastrointestinal problems, and other health conditions, can make it difficult to sleep, even when your body is extremely tired. And as the sleepless nights continue,
your bedroom itself can start becoming associated with anxiety and stress in your brain. Instead of your bed being a place for rest, your brain starts associating it with staying awake and worrying. Someone suffering from insomnia may get into bed already feeling stressed, and that stress can reach a point where the brain triggers the body's alarm system, also known as the stress response system. The body begins releasing stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, and your body enters a state of heightened alertness and arousal. In this state, the brain is constantly scanning for potential threats, and that can make you notice even the smallest things, making it difficult to ignore a tiny sound or a slight movement during the night.
Or even a minor feeling of discomfort. Things you would normally be able to ignore can suddenly be enough to keep you awake. And even when someone with insomnia finally manages to fall asleep, their sleep may not be as restful or deep as it should be. That's because the brain relies heavily on glucose as a source of energy. During normal sleep, the body slows down its energy use to conserve glucose for when you're awake. But studies, particularly in animals, suggest that the stress response and hormones, such as adrenaline, may increase the body's metabolic rate even during sleep. In other words, the body of someone with insomnia may continue working at a higher than normal rate, almost as if it's operating in emergency mode all night long. And the result? They wake up exhausted, confused, and still stressed. And then the vicious cycle starts all over again. Stress, lack of sleep, exhaustion.
And then even more stress. If this cycle continues for several months, the condition may officially be diagnosed as chronic insomnia. And although insomnia is rarely fatal, it's certainly not just a minor sleep problem. Some of the chemical mechanisms associated with insomnia overlap with mechanisms involved in anxiety and depression. And because of that, having one of these conditions can increase the likelihood of developing the others. But fortunately, there are ways to break this cycle. One of the most important approaches is managing the stress that keeps your body in a state of hyperarousal. And you can start with a few simple habits that help rebuild your relationship with your bed. First, create a better sleep environment. Keep your bedroom dark and comfortably cool to reduce anything that might keep your brain on alert. Second, use your bed for sleep only. If you get into bed and can't sleep and you start feeling anxious, don't stay there tossing and turning for hours. Get out of the bedroom and do something calm and relaxing, like reading, meditating, or journaling. Third, keep a consistent sleep and wake schedule. This regularity helps your body maintain its biological clock and keep it working properly. And that biological clock, also known as your circadian rhythm, is highly sensitive to light.
So, try to avoid bright lights at night. This helps signal to your body that it's time to sleep. Beyond these habits, in some cases, doctors may prescribe medication to help with sleep, but there is no medication guaranteed to work for every case of insomnia. And some over-the-counter sleeping pills can lead to dependence or addiction. Stopping them can also cause withdrawal symptoms, which may make the problem worse. That's why, before looking for treatment, you need to make sure that what you're experiencing is actually insomnia, because around 8% of people diagnosed with chronic insomnia
may actually be dealing with a different and less common genetic condition called delayed sleep-wake phase disorder, or DSPD. People with this disorder have a circadian rhythm that is significantly longer than 24 hours. This causes their sleep schedule to be out of sync with the typical schedule most people follow, so they may have difficulty falling asleep at the time when most people go to bed, but it isn't necessarily because they're stressed. Simply put, their bodies are naturally programmed to fall asleep and wake up at later times, and if they're allowed to follow their natural schedule, they can sleep and wake normally. Finally, our sleep-wake cycle depends on a delicate balance, and maintaining that balance is important for both our physical and mental well-being. For all these reasons, it's worth investing some time and effort into building a consistent sleep routine. But most importantly, don't stress yourself out trying to fall asleep.
And if you want to know what can happen to your body and brain when you deprive yourself of sleep for days, check out the previous episode about the high school student who challenged himself to stay awake for 11 days.